Hey guys, Trev here, back in the garage, and a few weeks ago we had a large event happen. Check it out. We have rolled over 10,000 kilometers. Now some of you out there are like, who cares about the kilometers on your car? But for any other car guy or car girl out there, you know that increasing your digits on your odometer is a really big milestone, and it's very tempting to try to take a picture of it right when it happens. I missed it by like 12 kilometers, so that really sucked. But I pulled over immediately afterwards to take that video. So I want to take the opportunity here to talk about the first 10,000 kilometers of ownership of my Model 3 Performance. So I think what we'll do is we'll break it down into a few quick categories. We'll talk about the expectation versus reality when I got the car. We'll talk about the energy efficiency and the actual cost of that. We'll talk about reliability, and we'll just talk about my overall thoughts of the car after having a bit of experience with it. Okay, first, expectation versus reality. When I ordered this car, I really had no idea what to expect because I'd only been in one trip in a Model 3 Standard Range Plus, and I fell in love with that. So when I went full kind of balls to the wall and ordered the Model 3 Performance, I thought, okay, this is going to be incredibly fast and nimble, and it's also going to be very economical and comfortable to drive it. So out of this, what was the result? What was the reality? So when I first got in the car, when I first sat in it, and I was in Vancouver and I was heading off to the ferry to come back to Vancouver Island, I was shocked by the speed. Now, Vancouver's got a lot of traffic, so the speed, guys, I've been in really fast cars. It is beyond anything that you really expect. Like it is turning your stomach inside out, and that is just fantastic. That's what I want. Even if it's just occasionally on a highway on-ramp to feel that, it's very, very good. Well beyond my expectation, the speed. Now the comfort was actually a lot firmer than I thought. The Standard Range Plus, I guess, has quite a bit of a higher suspension, and the Performance model is pushed down hard onto the ground for better cornering. So suspension a little bit harder than I expected, but way better than my old BMW still, so not a big deal there. Now, this really played into fact on road trips where I would take the trip out with the family, and as long as I was on a smooth highway, you can't notice the suspension at all. But once you get into a road that has a lot of bumps and potholes and stuff like that, you start to really notice it. And because the car comes with these 20-inch tires with very thin rubber, you have to really watch what roads you go on and not to hit any potholes. So I expected it to be a little bit softer than it was, but the cornering and the performance really took away any negatives that came with that. So my electrical efficiency of the car expectation was about $1 per 100 kilometers. And this was based off my current electrical rates and everything like that. But what ended up happening was that my house got bumped into step 2, which in our province of BC, there's like one hydro company and they bump you into step 2. I had made the assumption that basically we'd have most of the month at stage 1 electrical rates, but the whole house in a whole plus the electric car bumped it far earlier into stage 2 on any given billing cycle. So I ended up paying about $2 per 100 kilometers. Now, is this bad? No, this was just me misinterpreting my electrical rates. But really, for me to drive 500 kilometers, that would cost $10 charging at home. Now, equivalent in the BMW I was driving before with premium gas, that same amount would cost me like $80 Canadian at least, depending on the rates that I could get. So it is still an incredible value there. The only other thing that turned me off about the car that I didn't expect, and this is something I'm going to work on fixing in the future and that they're working on the current Model 3s, is there is a lot of wind noise when you're going over 120 kilometers per hour. This could also be the fact that there's not any engine noise, so you kind of hear everything. You hear the tires, you hear all of this noise that you wouldn't normally hear otherwise. But beyond that, my overall expectation versus reality in the car was fantastic. The car has taken my breath away, and it is the best car I've ever owned. Okay, let's dive into reliability. Now, of course, you guys know that I've had 2 service calls so far. I had one that was warranty, and the second one that was, act of God rock hitting underneath the car and wrecking a skid plate. So the first thing I had go wrong was I noticed that the rear spoiler was lifting up a little bit. This is not a big deal. The second one there was, of course, this really annoying squeak that was in my front wheel. Tesla service came, they took the whole thing, the whole front end apart, found the issue, fixed the issue, re-glued down the spoiler, all was well there. Very, very good service experience, excellent service experience. Second one, again, my fault on the highway, big rock comes underneath the car, unable to avoid it, causes some damage. I get that fixed and it cost me, $324 out of pocket. Not the end of the world there, but within expectation for this size of value of car. Overall, guys, I am totally sold on the reliability of Teslas specifically for electric vehicles, because you can tell that they are just built so well. I know at the beginning they had a few issues with fit and fitment as they were pumping them out of the factory, but the motors and the actual drivetrain and everything around that is incredibly, incredibly efficient and reliable. I have a very strong feeling that this car is going to last me as long as I want to drive it, even with me occasionally hitting the gas pedal harder than I probably should. But yeah, very, very good reliability, and there's no complaints there. I think the only thing I've actually bought for it, besides that one repair, is wiper fluid, and that's pretty much it. Okay, next I want to talk about value. Now, as you guys know, me and the family have taken this on a couple of road trips around Vancouver Island and over to the mainland and down the coast into Washington State and Oregon, and we have had a total blast. Now, when I got this car, it was at the end of the quarter 2019, and Tesla offered me 2 years of free supercharging, and I'm taking advantage of that and will continue to throughout the next year and a half. Now, this alone is a monstrous value. If I want to actually drive down to the supercharger to charge up every week and have free electricity for my car, that would be fine. I would be able to do that. That's a crazy good value. Now, I do not have time to do that, but I could. The other thing here is that the car is extremely expensive, okay? Now, this is not the Standard Range Plus, it's the Model 3 Performance with full self-drive, with the white interior, pretty much every option you could spend on this car. And the taxes here in British Columbia are absolutely atrocious, because you have to pay luxury tax on this and don't get any rebates. So this car was like $98,000 when I bought it. But the hilarious, really hilarious thing is it's actually increased in value on Tesla's website since I bought it, because the price of full self-drive has gone up, the price of the car itself has gone up. So the exact same spec now will be with tax about $102,000 if you ordered it off Tesla's website. So there's not many cars I've owned that the price of them has gone up by $4,000 since actually buying it. Now, of course, if I was to sell it on the used market, I wouldn't be able to get the taxes back off that. But because there's only a couple Model 3 Performances, even in the Vancouver market for sale, they're actually still being sold at a premium, which is absolutely insane. So overall, I think the depreciation aspect of Tesla, the fact that it doesn't depreciate the same as normal cars, has really made me confident in my purchase. And this is the largest car purchase I've ever made in my life. So now some overall thoughts on the car in general. Again, we said in the last one, the Model 3 Performance itself, very expensive. Standard Range Plus you can get into for way less, about half the price with taxes, and that is also really awesome. So overall, I think price point for what you get out of it, it's literally as fast as a lot of Ferraris. It's amazing, okay, for the price that it is. So I'm very happy with that. It's also made my family really, really happy. We really enjoy doing road trips. It's a big thing we like to do. And the last couple of road trips over the last few years before we got the car that we did, our majority cost was gasoline. So having the free supercharging for the next 2 years and even paying for it after is really going to make a big difference for our family's road trip lifestyle that we like to do in the future once we move over to the East Coast. Now, the other thing about this car that I find really interesting is, even though it's a super high performance car, the Model 3 is really understated. So even though people come over and they ask questions and they want to take a peek, especially if you're summoning it at a Costco parking lot or something, people will still not overtly crowd the car like maybe they would with a Model X. And I really like the subtle kind of sleeper nature of this car. It's really, really neat. As far as the car itself though, what I would say is a lot of people feel almost kind of pressure around to maybe look at buying a Tesla. There are a lot of other electric vehicles around there, out there that are a lot cheaper. I think these are far better, but I don't think that people should get into one, even a Standard Range Plus, unless they could really afford a $50,000 car. It's really easy to jump into the idea that, oh, I'm going to get an electric car and I'll save all the money in the long run, but we don't want you to become cash strapped during your initial purchase in the first place. So this car, best car I've ever owned, hands down. It's only been 10,000 kilometers, and I can't wait to report to you guys at 100,000 kilometers and 300 and 500,000 kilometers and see how this thing is really going in the long run. And I don't think it's going to take me long to get there because we plan on driving this thing absolutely everywhere. Well, guys, that's it. That's my initial thoughts for the first 10,000 kilometers of owning the Tesla Model 3 Performance. Really appreciate you watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Bye.